Hello parents, thank you for watching this video. This is the SSA parent training video. I am Mrs. Casa and I am one of the AIG teachers here at Green Hope Elementary. I have recorded this for you so that you can better understand the process. This is our first slide. On this slide, we see 3 steps that we need parents to pay attention to. The first one is one that you're doing already. You are watching the training. The second thing we need you to do is to be sure that your child and you join the Google Classroom. In order to join the Google Classroom, you will need to make sure that your child is signed in to his or her WIG ID. Click on the Google icon, the Google Classroom icon, and type in the code that you see on the screen here. Once you get on the classroom, you will see several things that will be helpful to you in terms of testing. On the Google Classroom for SSA testing, there is a parent code of ethics. We need you to read that and also to fill out the Google form stating that you have read it and that you accept the conditions of testing. That is super important, and the county has asked us to check to make sure that all parents have signed off on that letter. We are checking this through the Google form. So please, please, please make sure that you fill that Google form out. And again, if you have trouble with it or have questions, you can email myself or Ms. Goodman. And we have emails on a different slide coming up. So let's go to the next slide. On this slide, we see parent responsibilities. And the parent responsibilities for this are really that testing code of ethics for parents, which we've already talked about. It is linked for you on this slide, and it is also in Google Classroom. Here is the Google form that you just click on to say that you have acknowledged and read the testing code of ethics for parents. And then that way it's noted in our records that you have read it and your child is all set for testing. The testing window. I know that you are anxious to know when your child is going to be tested. I just finished checking IDs in the system today. So we are hoping to start testing on Thursday of this week. We are going to start with our older students. 5th graders will be on Thursday of this week, and 4th graders will be on Friday of this week. We're going to divide the groups into 3 groups. I will have a group, Mrs. Goodman will have a group, and Mrs. Wood will have a group as well. So students will be in smaller groups, and each of the testers, each of the administrators will be making sure that students are logged in and ready to go. We have until October 2nd to complete the testing. That is the Wake County window. We're going to start the testing right away. We'd love to start at 9 o'clock, but understand that students need to check in with their teachers first. So they should go to their homeroom, say they're here, and that they're going to the SSA testing. The meet codes will be in Google Classroom. Your child will need to look for their classroom teacher's name and click on that Google Meet for their teacher. So Mrs. Wood will have some students, I will have some students, and Ms. Goodman will have some students. And that will all be on Google Classroom. So you can kind of see why Google Classroom is super important for you to get on. Okay, 1st grade testing is going to be completely different. 1st graders will be pulled in even smaller groups of 5, and there will be 2 people giving the test. And we will give more information to 1st grade teachers that they will pass on to 1st grade parents so that parents are aware of how first graders are going to be doing it. But that's going to be over the course of several days. A couple of reminders about student testing. We know that in Wake County, we cannot require cameras to be on, but we ask that you please consider having the camera on. That way, everything is transparent. We know what children are doing, and it's fair for everyone. So cameras really should be on. Microphones need to be on in case there's a problem. That's the only way they can kind of contact us. Absolutely no talking during the test. And really, they shouldn't be talking to anyone in the house either, because that's not only going to disrupt the other students, but we want to keep the test as secure as possible. No surfing on the web or opening tabs during the test. That is absolutely not an okay thing to do. Also, no additional electronic devices should be out, no cell phones, no iPads. Leaving the testing environment is discouraged because there is a 90-minute testing limit on math. EL has 2 parts. The written part is 90 minutes and the reading part is 90 minutes. Headphones are also recommended. That way it keeps the student focused and it keeps kind of more of a testing environment for the student. A couple of reminders. Students must know their ID number. That is how they're going to get into the system. I would recommend making sure that your student writes down his or her ID number. They also know it as their lunch number. Write it down on a Post-it so that when they go to log in, they have it. Their username and password is their student ID number. Of course, we understand that parents will want to help their children log in. That is absolutely fine. In fact, in the Google Classroom, there is a login guide for parents so that parents can help their children log into the test. After the login is done, we don't expect parents to stay around during the testing. It should be a secure environment for the child, and the testing administrators will only want to see children's faces. If there are technical difficulties, we understand that those things can happen. This is our first time doing this in Wake County. If we have internet failure or your child gets kicked out of the system, don't panic. We will see that that is happening and we'll figure it out. Usually you should be able to get right back on in the system. The system should save answers that are already completed, and then your child would just continue. The testing administrator is going to be watching the entire time. So if technical difficulties keep your child off the test, then the testing administrator would note that and give your child extra time at the end. The 3 testing administrators are myself, Mrs. Costa, Mrs. Goodman, who is the other AIG teacher, and Mrs. Wood, who is the instructional facilitator at Green Hope. So your child will have one of those people, one of those 3 people, or I should say 3 teachers, doing the test administration. On this slide, you have the name of the company. It's Certica. On this page, I mentioned prior, on a prior slide, that there's login instructions on Google Classroom. I'm going to click on this, and it will take you to Google Classroom. And this says the parent guide to case testing. You can click on that and it takes you through what to do. We've already mentioned first graders. First graders will be in small groups of 5. The county has asked that the little ones only sit for 30 minutes at a time. So it will take us a while to get through the assessment with first grade. So it may take them a couple of times coming onto the computer in order to finish that. So don't be alarmed by that. This presentation has been brought to you by your AIG teachers here at Green Hope, Mrs. Casa and Mrs. Goodman. Thank you so much for watching, and we appreciate your time. Let us know if you have any questions or concerns, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.